Good afternoon. Thanks for tuning in to another daily conversation about situations in everyday life. So let's talk about it. So today I wanted to talk about how we transition in life. Life can come with so many different ups and downs that sometimes you be so stuck in the down that you don't even realize that you're actually going through a transition. Right? I've been through so many valleys in my life that I didn't realize that what they were until after I got out of it. When I was in it, I was just in it, right? You don't, when you're in something, it's like last night, I was watching the movie Real Steel. And I just love the transitions in that movie of how the dad, he was just so gone. He was so gone in his survival mode and his ego and just everything that I've done and I know, and not really paying attention to the transition that walked in his life when his son came in his life. That moment turned into the game changer in his life, right? A lot of times people come in our lives and we think that we got to let go of our past or we got to start something new. And it's not really like that. When you're going through different seasons in your life, sometimes some people do have to fall off, yes. And then sometimes some people just they kind of just hold their corner, not really saying that they're going anywhere, but they're there, right? They're a part of your core. They're a part of your circle. But while you're transitioning, something else or someone else may enter into your realm that you got to kind of like lock in with just to get through your transition to the next level, right? A lot of us, we have friends in our lives that's been there since day one, and then we have friends in our lives that just came. And sometimes you find yourself in more conversations with the ones that just came in your life opposed to the ones that were there before. But it's not that the love has changed. It's not that nothing is different. It's just where you are currently in your life. You need this person or this thing by your side while you're transitioning through that journey, right? I heard this guy say something that was really, really profound for me. I just want y'all to hear this.
I'm a firm believer in day twos. We all got day ones. Yeah. We grew up out the sandbox. Yeah. We done shared chicken sandwiches. Yeah. We done shared a snack box. But I believe in day twos. Yeah. And the day ones, you didn't get to choose those people. They were attached to you based on your environment, based on your circumstance. Right. And usually the language of day ones is survival. Usually the conversations with your day ones is about stuff we used to do. And the silly things we did and oh my God, you remember that time? Your day twos are from different places, so it's intentional. Your day twos, y'all speak the language of thriving. Mm-hmm. How do we excel and expand? Mm-hmm. How do we add value to each other? How can I help and support? And so I believe you need that. The way you got a right hand and a left hand, you need day ones to keep you grounded and let you know where you come from. Mm-hmm. But you need day twos that are going to push you. Absolutely. And challenge you. Absolutely. And stretch you.
And that was, I think his name is Dwayne Muntunga. I'm sorry if I got it wrong, homie. But what you said was definitely fire. It resonated with my soul in so many ways because I have hella day ones, right? Of course, those of you that been following me for a while, you know I have 30 brothers and sisters. One of them, his soul is sleeping in peace, but he's still here with us in spirit. But it's so much of us that, like I said, I got hella day ones, right? Some of those day ones are a part of my day twos, but some of them are not. Because my day twos are kind of people that I'm locking in with where I am in my life right now. Right? I can always, like, we could get together. My fiance always says it to me. He's like, when you get together or when you're on the phone with your siblings, oh my gosh, it's so much reminiscing. And it's the same thing with him and his. It's like you talk about all the stuff that you've been through, all the stuff that you've done. You talk about your roots, your culture, what made you who you are. Like in my family, we could talk for hours about our culture, our life, how we grew up. I mean, we could talk for days, let's be real. But in my journey now, some of my siblings that were a part of my life growing up, they're not predominantly in my life now while I'm transitioning to another phase of my life. They're still there. I can still pick up the phone and call them, but I don't have to deal with them on a day-to-day basis for me to transition through what I'm going through in life. They're not required to be a part of what I need to get to the next level in my life. And what I mean by that, not meaning like, oh my God, I don't need you. It's not about that. It's like one of my sisters, I love how our relationships with each other. It's like I could not talk to her for weeks. And then when I pick up the phone and she picks up the phone and we talk, it's a picked up right where we left off. That to me shows me so much genuinity because it's like it doesn't matter how long I haven't spoke to you. I know and you know what we are, who we are, how we rock. And it's not going to change. Even if I see you on social media doing your thing, I'm going to like it and I'm going to support you. Why? Because you're still my day one, right? But we might not engage in a conversation on what you're doing or what I'm doing because we're not in the same plane right now. We're not dealing with the same things right now. I got hella kids, you don't. So our conversations won't be the same. I'm going to want to talk to someone else that is going through what I'm going through. I'm going to want to bond with someone else that's going through what I'm going through. I'm going to want to lock in with someone else that's trying to get to where I'm trying to get to. And a lot of times our day ones are just where they were and still are and don't have no desire to go anywhere else. And that don't mean anything is wrong with them. We just got to see it for that and move on. And that don't mean that something is wrong with me that I choose to go to a whole nother level because I'm trying to get to another place in life. We got to respect each other. Day ones got to respect day twos. Day twos got to respect day ones. The person in the middle got to respect both. And everybody got to respect everybody because it's all a part of our growth. It's all a part of where we're going. Right? How do we even dissect who is a day one and who is a day two? How do we even dissect who we need in life to transition to the next level or what we need in life to transition to the next level? Some people, you ever see those people when all of a sudden now you're like, oh, wow, you're a Christian now. Or, oh, wow, you on this Muslim stuff now. Or, oh, wow, you a Rasta now. It's not like somebody just became something. They can transition. Just like my dad. My dad wasn't always a Rasta. He got his calling in 1975 and then started to live that lifestyle. Right? And I say this to so many people. Just because you choose to live your life by embodying a specific culture does not make you like completely different from who you were before. Right? You're the same person. The core still remains the same. You just found something that you want to lock into because as you continue, you want to lock in feeling that. Like for me, I grew up in a Rastafarian household. As an adult, I've experienced different cultures. I've experienced different religions, right? But for me, nothing resonates with my core like the Rastafarian culture because it's just things about it. It's just things about how we think. It's just things about how we live that embodies me, that makes me feel empowered, right? That doesn't mean that I'm different. That doesn't mean that just because you're a Christian, we can't rock. Nah, we cool. We can still rock. We both have the same beliefs in certain ways, right? I just have a different I just have a different system on how I honor that. Like I don't get caught up into religion too much because everybody has their perception, right, of what it is that they feel, what it is that they think, or even what it is that they believe. I just believe in spirituality and growth. And whatever is going to take me to that next level, to grow to the next level, to make me feel like the better version of me and help me operate in the way that I want to operate, that's where I'm going to go. If I don't feel that from you, you can't be mad that I found it down the street. You got to just respect me and just be like, you know what? I'm here for you and I support you because I'm going to do the same for you. I don't have a lot of friends. My kids make fun of me all the time. When I have a lot of associates, but I don't have a lot of friends. Friends are different. And we're going to talk about that in another episode to come. You got to understand what the true meaning of a friend is. You got to really understand if you are even capable of being a friend that someone needs. Because sometimes someone may need a type of friend that you're not able to fulfill right now. We live in two different states. You got hella kids, I don't. It's different journeys in life, right? And you gotta respect each other for that. We gotta love each other and allow each other to live. Because what I can't help you grow through, someone else may can, or another place may can. You might need to move to another state. I got a brother that moved all the way to Ethiopia. Haven't seen him in years. Okay? But that don't mean the love is different. We get together right now, we're gonna be locked in because that's my day one. Right? You gotta understand that people are in your life for a season, right? Things can be in your life for a season. You have to place them in your life in the place where you see fit. You gotta you gotta control that. You gotta set the tone of that. You can't make others dictate where they fall in your life or try to force their way onto how you're living in your life. You gotta control that. You can't let people or anything make you feel like what you truly desire in your core, you can't be that, or you can't have that, or you can't go and attain that. You got to want it. You got to want it. You got to work for it. You got to see it and you got to go after it, right? I swear, one of the things that always resonated with me growing up is a passage in the Bible where it's like, knock and the door shall be open. Ask and you shall receive your answer, right? It's like, how are we stepping into where we want to go to in life if we're afraid to open and knock on that door? If we're afraid to ask those questions that needs to be asked? We can't be afraid. We got to take it. We got to move. Sometimes it feels lonely. You don't want to leave what you know and what you're used to start something new because it gets uncomfortable. But you don't realize that you got to be uncomfortable before you get comfortable. And when you realize that, you're going to step into every place where life takes you and you're going to deal with it. You're going to own it. All of my transgressions that I've gone through, I don't blame it on nobody. I don't look at it as it was a like a bad thing. At the moment when it was happening, it felt bad. But when I look at where I am in life now, I see that it was a part of my journey. It's like when you go, people don't understand, when you're going through that tunnel, when you're going, there's no going left, there's no going right. And you can't go backwards. You got to just keep going forward. And it's going to get hot. It's going to get pricky. It's going to get tough. You're going to drop in some holes. You're going to get picked up by some people. And then you're going to get ripped apart by some people. But you got to keep going. You got to keep going. And anything you do, you got to keep going. You start something new, don't stop just because it feels like it ain't going nowhere or it feels like it's a little shaky. Keep going. Switch it up. Do something different, but keep going. Don't be deterred and end up being stagnant. And you're stuck in a place where you're like, where am I? You just wake up one day and you're like, where am I? How did I get here? You got here because you stopped. You ain't keep moving. You sat there underneath that rainstorm and you let that ship build up. You gotta dry off yourself. Now you gotta make sure you ain't flooded. Now you gotta start walking through them puddles because you sat in it. That's when you're dealing with facing your truth, dealing with a little shadow work, accepting where you went wrong. That is when you're cleaning off the water. You're stepping up. You're walking through them puddles, big steps through them puddles. That's all of that. Well, you got to face it. You're looking at your Yeezys or your Air Force Ones soaked, and you're like, how did that happen? How did that thing so precious get destroyed? Because you sat in it. You allowed yourself to just sit in a place where it was dark, muddy, nasty, full of muck, and you did not keep moving. And a lot of times we don't realize that this happens to us because of fear. It happens to us because we're looking at life like, okay, should I do this? It's a what if, shoulda, coulda, woulda mentality all the time. It's never I'm gonna. Like you can accomplish things in your mind and never accomplish it in real life. Why? Because you didn't put the work in for it to manifest. You thought it. but you didn't do the work for it to manifest. You got faith that it's going to happen, but you ain't doing no work. And that is why a lot of us find ourselves stagnant. Like for me, when I went through life and went through all the things I went through, and I look at it now, when I was going through it, trust me, my talk was different. I was talking hella stuff. I was saying all kinds of things. I was blaming this person, blaming that person, not owning my shit, just constantly making excuses and just never just sitting down for a minute and looking at it and being like, you know what? I did that. That was my decision. I chose that. Own it so that you can fix it, shake it off, dust it off, and keep pushing. Right? That's what we're going to do today. Own our stuff, see where it is that we went wrong, set the tone for our life, make sure that we're doing the things that we want to do, not others want us to do. Make sure we are making it clear to ourselves internally and externally what it is that we're doing and what it is that we want. If we do that, I guarantee you, we will become the best version of ourselves. Have a blessed day.